Hi, lovely. I'm Taylor, and I know what it feels like to have fear holding you hostage. So let's loosen that grip a little bit through this guided yin yoga practice. I recommend having two blocks close by. We'll begin in rock pose, which is a variation of child's pose. So keeping your legs closer together, they can widen a little bit. But bring a block underneath your forehead and your arms by your sides instead of reaching forward. If the forehead comes to meet the ground, you may not necessarily need a block. But think of this as forming a rock. You're trying to get small here. But it's not about curling in as tight as you can, just simply rounding and surrendering forward. As your breath slows, focus on your exhale. Maybe even making a soft blow out through slightly pursed lips. Let your shoulders droop forward so the back of your heart begins to open. And any tightness and holding that you find, this bracing sensation, starts to open along with your heart as you let the entire front body collapse towards the ground. There's nothing that you need to be scared of in this moment. Your only purpose in this practice is to simply be just as you are. Take two more full breaths here. Does the forehead want to dip even more towards the earth? Keeping your weight back on your heels, slowly start to unroll. Hands come under shoulders to help you press upright until you're seated in thunderbolt. Shoulders stacked over hips, head over shoulders. Arms can stay long by your sides, or you may even bring your palms to stack over your heart. Breathe into that space. And notice how you feel as you rise. Walk your hands forward and release your weight down onto your elbows and forearms, coming into Sphinx pose. Your legs extend long behind you as the front of your hips dip in towards the ground. And generally, elbows are underneath shoulders, but if there's any pinching or pain in the low back, walk the elbows slightly forward. You can play with widening your stance, your legs towards the back corners of your mat. And press your palms and forearms into the ground and then pull slightly back in space to open across the heart. At the same time as you keep the back of the neck long, ever so subtly tuck the chin. Notice if you're clenching into the glutes. Can you soften this area Sometimes a gentle squeeze and releasing on the exhale helps you completely soften. And let the front of your ribs dip in towards the ground so the heart opens more fully. Almost like the chest is being exposed. Gentle stretch to get you more familiar with vulnerability, leading from the heart instead of from fear. Two more full breaths. Start to draw your elbows wide as you stack your hands and release your chest towards the ground. Forehead comes to land on the back of your hands. And either wiggle your hips a little bit from side to side or draw heels towards your bum and windshield wiper your shins left to right. Gentle release for the low back. Notice any widening happening between the shoulder blades. And come to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself up through a tabletop position. Then come to sit back on your heels, preparing for hero. If it feels okay for your body, you may widen your heels so that your sit bones come between your heels. However, this can feel really funky for a lot of people's knees, mine included. So you can always stay seated on your heels. I also recommend setting up on a block, bringing it between your feet, underneath your sit bones. And then bring your hands behind you. Lift your hips up, draw your tailbone forward, and then resettle sit bones towards block or ground. You can stay upright like this, especially if you're feeling intensity already in the front of the hips and the thighs, or start to calm down lower, maybe onto your elbows. You can use blocks underneath your elbows. You can bring your blocks one in front of the other and lay down on your blocks. Or depending on your flexibility, you may even come to lay all the way down on your spine, arms falling by your sides. Whichever variation that you end up in. Notice how you are once again exposing the front of your body. The chin can either stay pulled in or can fall back in space. And this isn't to say that exposing yourself is scary, though it can be. But it's an act of vulnerability. And vulnerability is what connects us all as humans. It's where we find depth in each other, connection, the ability to relate. So even as your body softens into what is oftentimes a tough pose for many, can the heart soften too? Soften into that space of open vulnerability. Vulnerability of paying attention to where you land today. Knowing that the depth of the posture doesn't determine how good or not you are at yoga. And knowing that on the other side of vulnerability was courage. The ability to keep going, to keep holding, even in the face of fear or discomfort. Three breaths. Do your best to fully drop into the stillness. Slowly start to lift yourself back upright, coming onto elbows and hands, shoulders back over hips, and arriving at the top. Notice your height, your length, the reach of your heart, how open you may feel. Does it feel unfamiliar? And send your heels and legs off to one side. Soles of feet on the ground as you slowly come to lower spine all the way to the earth. Coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly. Soles of feet touch as the knees fall wide. And you can always use blocks underneath your outer knees or thighs. And arms can either reach out by your sides, palms up or down. Or hands can come to rest on your lower ribs. Noticing your breath. Opening and vulnerability take time. Just like it is in yin yoga postures. You don't simply arrive at being vulnerable or arrive at being courageous. You notice over time how it becomes a little bit easier each time you choose to open, to share, to simply be. Three generous breaths, fully open. Use your hands to start to gather your legs inward and towards your chest. Perhaps taking a little rock from side to side, nourishing little squeeze. As you're ready, Unfurl open into Shavasana. Limbs reach out long from your torso. You might gently squeeze or wiggle the shoulder blades a little bit closer together underneath your heart so it puffs up to the sky. Perhaps you take a moment to smile for yourself simply for being here, for expressing yourself through this practice simply by learning to be in the stillness exactly where you arrive. Because it's in that space, in that vulnerability, that fear begins to dissolve. And your courage and confidence begin to emerge. Let yourself rest in that space and simmer in the sweetness, the sukha of this practice. Slowly begin to reawaken by rocking the head from side to side, inviting movement into the fingertips and toes, eventually the ankles and wrists. And take a big stretch like you're just waking up for the day. And give yourself a squeeze as you draw knees into chest. And roll yourself over into a fetal position on the right. Softly guide your way upright into a comfortable seat where your hands will meet in a prayer-like position in front of your heart center. And bow your head so your third eye meets your fingertips. And thank yourself for showing up on the mat today, for doing this courageous act of self-love for your mind, body, and soul. Lift your head back up. May you feel kind words, speak kind words, and think kind words. Together, we bow forward and say thank you. It was a pleasure to guide you today. Go out there and be fabulous. Until next time.
If this practice helped you feel even a little more at ease in your body, imagine what would shift if you had support like this every week. My somatic coaching is for you if you're tired of thinking, I should feel better about myself by now. Instead, you're stuck in self-doubt, comparison, and shame. We go deeper than mindset. We work with your body so that your confidence stops being a thought and starts becoming a feeling. This isn't about fixing, it's about finally feeling like yourself from the inside out. Click the link below to work with me and let's find your glow.